Emoji Curtis here. Welcome to the show. Today, I've got a fabulous guest, Chef Kitty Herda. I'll let her introduce herself to you in just a minute. But first, let's test your local knowledge. Do you know what this mural is? Maybe I'll tell you and maybe I won't. Let's enjoy the show. We're going to start with a tableside conversation with
Hey y'all,
Chef
it's me,
Kitty.
Curtis G. I'm
Peace,
sitting in San
spread love.
Francisco today, opening the show with my friend Kitty. Kitty and I met on a plane. How many years ago do you think it was, Kitty?
It was 1993.
Oh my goodness, 93. So Curtis Jr. was like a baby, and your son,
Was barely 3 years old.
barely 3. Now, I'm going to ask you, Kitty. By the way, Kitty's a chef, an incredible chef from Florida. She's a rapper. No, I'm kidding.
Didn't know.
So do you mind sharing the story how we met?
Well, I was flying to San Francisco from Jacksonville, Florida, with my son, and I was fortunate enough to sit next to you,
Oh, I think I was the fortunate one.
and unfortunate enough to have my son turn a Bloody Mary over in your lap.
Well, I like Bloody Marys.
Well, not wearing them, I'm sure, but I was mortified, and all you did was reach over and scoop Egan up, tell me everything was okay, and he was what was important, and I really loved that moment.
Thank
We
you.
had wonderful conversation too about my excitement over possibly becoming a personal chef, and you told me to follow my heart.
Wow. Now, I get tingles hearing this story because Kitty reached out to me a few months ago. Was it on Instagram or
It
Facebook
was.
or whatever?
It was on Instagram.
And by the way, your Instagram name is
How food will travel.
It's so cool. So y'all check it out on the gram. It's beautiful pictures of what the work she's doing along with Egan and some of the other folks you work with down in Florida, right?
Absolutely.
So it's kind of cool. Now that was 20 some years ago, and now we get to reconnect in this millennium, and it's kind of nice to think about. You talked about mentoring, and I didn't think of myself as mentoring you. I've got to be honest.
I don't think I thought about it that way at the time, but I kept remembering that you told me to follow my heart. You told me your story of learning to read as an adult, and it just made sense to do what made me happy.
I love that. I love that. Now, and I'm going to share with you all, and I'm not sure if I shared this with you, Kitty, then, so I'm doing it now. That's what Julia Child did for me.
Oh, wow.
Now, by no means am I saying I'm Julia Child. She's one of my true mentors. And the day I met Julia, and I get chicken skin thinking
Yep,
about
me
this
too.
because we were doing a television show in Atlanta, and Julia was a guest on the show, and I asked her, I said, Miss Child, Julia, please, call me Julia. It's no joke.
I love
and
it.
so I said, should I go to culinary school? Should I, take this? Because I love cooking and I love sharing and teaching. She says, she put her hand, she grabbed both my hands like this, Kitty, and she said, with your passion, just cook.
I love it.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget, and one of the biggest honors of my career was when she called me and asked me to host one of the birthday parties for her 90th birthday. Now, enough about my stuff. I want to hear about what you and what Egan, am I pronouncing it correct?
Egan.
Has been up to, because, wow, tell me your career. You became a personal chef.
My
What all
career.
happened after that flight on the plane? And we haven't seen each other since then, right?
No, we have. No, we did. We have. You came to Jacksonville for a Food Network event.
Okay.
Let's go to the kitchen where Chef Kitty will make her creme brulee. Ingredients: 6 egg yolks, 1 cup of sugar, 2 cups heavy cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Enjoy.
Hi, Curtis. Chef Kitty from Micanopy, Florida, and here we are making our creme brulee. We're starting with 2 cups of heavy cream, to which I have added 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to warm that up. While we separate our eggs. I'm going to use this back burner because it's a lot lighter. And there we go. Okay, we're going to separate eggs because we're only going to use the yolks for our creme brulee, but we're going to save the whites for our meringues.
Remember, egg whites can be frozen. You can just put them in a plastic bag or freeze them in individual ice cube trays and use them later.
We let our eggs sit out so that they came to room temperature. They're much easier to separate than right out of the refrigerator. This is number 5. And number 6. Oh dear. This shell didn't cooperate, but I think we've got it. There we go. So we've separated 6 eggs. We're going to save our whites for our meringues. Clean up a little, and that's going to the side. No idea what I put that out there for. We're going to add sugar to our egg yolks, and we're going to whisk. Some people use...
How much sugar?
This was a half a cup of sugar, and in this process, I'm trying to teach my sister about creme brulee. She says she can't make it, but I know she can. A lot of people use a mixer to get this nice and blended, but I prefer a whisk. Feel like I put more into it that way. And here we are, nice and creamy and smooth. Now our cream should be coming to a boil. We're going to spice it up a little here. As soon as it boils, we're going to set it aside for 15 minutes. Welcome back, Curtis. Now we have our cream and our vanilla that's been heated up to just a slight boil. It's cooled down enough so that we can add it to our egg mixture without curdling our eggs. The secret is slow as you go. And I'm going to put a little paper towel that has a little dampness to it right under my bowl so it doesn't run away from me. We're going to add it in just a little tiny bit to begin with, and that will help us temper our eggs. And then we can just go, go, go.
Hey, Emoji Curtis here. Are you enjoying Chef Kitty? I am. Temper the eggs. That means to raise the temperature of those cold egg yolks while you're putting them into the custard so they don't cook. Make that nice creme brulee. Go, Chef Kitty.
Super simple. Once you have that tempered down, you can just keep it going. Make sure it's well blended, and then you're ready to put it into your ramekins. I usually use a bowl at home that has a spout, so I'm going to look just for a second for a ladle. Perfect. Thank you, Sandlin. Here we are. Now we're just going to fill them up. I'm going to put them in our pan, this hot one. And we're going to use a large pan, bigger than the ramekins by a long shot. And this is going to give us ample water around the outside to make it cook just at the right temperature. Now we're going to have some mixture left over. Do you think we have something else we could cook it in? Maybe a larger ramekin? Perfect. Sisters are so good. I think we'll do this one and we'll have a nice area for our sugar on top. I think the kettle's going off just in time. Thanks again. So these are ready. And this is high also, whoops, so it will be all cooking at the same temperature. We're gonna pull out a pot holder here. We're gonna add our hot water, It's going to flow around the ramekins. We're going to bring it up almost to the top, but not quite. Our oven is come to temperature at 325. We're going to set our pan with the ramekins and water carefully into the oven. And then we're going to let it bake for 35 to 40 minutes. We will check on it as we go. We're going to set our timer. I'm getting instruction. Come on in. There we go. Timer on. 30. We'll start with 35 minutes and then we'll check it. And then we'll be back. Thanks. Hi. It's oven mitt time. We're going to take our creme brulee out of the oven. You want it to be cooked through, but still just a little bit trembly at the top. And this is trembling with excitement because it's done. Now we're going to turn our oven down to 300. And we're going to start that. And it'll be ready for our meringues, which is our bonus dessert when we're making creme brulee. Now, for our creme brulee, we're going to let it sit for just a few minutes. We're going to take it to the side and sprinkle it with sugar, and then we're going to torch it. And it's going to give us that crackly top that everybody loves about creme brulee. Okay?
Done.
Hi, welcome back. We now have our chilled creme brulee, and we're going to sprinkle it, cover the top with sugar, and then we're going to torch it. And of course, just in case, when you're playing with fire, you need to be safe. So here's our sugar. I like to put it on top. Roll it around in the cup so that it's all nice and covered. So that one was perfect. Here we are again, number 2. Spread it as evenly as we can. Number 3, which was really just our extra, but we couldn't wait. We're gonna eat it too. Number 4. And last but not least, we're spreading out number 5. And we're just using regular white sugar. A lot of times we use a raw sugar. We're gonna try to torch them up. We may have to have help.
That's perfect.
Here we are. We have our there we go. And we're ready. Are you sure that's not too high? There we go. And now we're gonna melt that sugar, turn it nice and crispy brown. And that's hot. And there we go. All done. For a Food Network event.
Okay, right.
And I had my little booth next to the wine guy, so we were very popular because people were coming for the wine.
The wine guy, I love
And
that.
I was into small bites, tapas sort of
Yes,
eating, and
yes.
fancy, elegant little hors d'oeuvres.
I love it.
And I let you know that I was there, and you made a point of coming and circling by. And I have the picture of you hugging me,
Aww.
happy to see me. And
Will you share
I
that when
just started crying. Well, I forgot to bring it, of
That's
course.
okay, but
I'm
we,
over,
you know, thank
I'm
goodness
over
for
50.
email, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to tell how old I am, but, you know, Age ain't
way,
nothing but a number.
way over 50.
So we saw each other in Florida, and then tell me about this career that you've had.
Well,
I mean, for two reasons I want to know. Well, not just for me and the people watching, also for young women out there, young women chefs in particular.
Absolutely.
Also people of color, knowing that we have the power to make this life better for ourselves, our families, and whomever else, right?
Absolutely. I was at the time a single mom, and I was working as a paralegal, and I did not enjoy my day. And then my nights were rushed with my child. And when I met my now husband,
All right, give him some shout outs. Your husband's name
Craig
is
Herda. Whoop whoop.
Craig Herda, not Greg. Her brother-in-law is Greg.
Correct.
I'll get these things right now. And he is the merchant marine captain.
Yes.
And this is a funny story, y'all. We're getting ready for lunch here at your sister's house. And say her name again. I love that name.
Sandlin.
Sandlin and her husband,
Greg.
Greg. Throwing some curveballs at me. So the phone rings, and I hear Captain Craig. Did I get it right?
That's correct.
Captain Craig. I'm like, wait a minute, is he still he's still a merchant marine
At
sailing the sea?
75, he's still a sea captain.
You're still a young man, baby.
Absolutely.
All right, Captain. So now tell me, you've been cooking around the world.
I actually had a little mini career. Well, I had my first part of my career as a personal chef, which immediately turned into catering for parties. I had worked as a paralegal, and the lawyers that I had worked for and with all started using me, and word got out, and I
You just
ended
grew
up
from there, huh?
catering for a mayoral candidate from the beginning for his campaign, and then cooked in his home when he was elected.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, John Payton was
John
the
Payton,
mayor.
mayor of Jacksonville.
He was at
Former
the
mayor.
time, right?
Okay, so if a young woman is watching us today, and she has the desire to become a personal chef or a caterer or whatever, or not even if it's some of the business, what piece of advice would you give to her?
The first thing is to always remember that you do know what you're doing. You do know what you're doing.
I love that.
And believe that you are good, and you will become good.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
You know, you are what you eat, you are what you believe, you are what you dream. Believe that you can follow that dream. Because I am sort of living proof on so many levels.
You and me both. And you know, since we met, since way back when, I have gone on to get not only my undergrad degree, I got a master's in education. I got my master's.
Saw that.
And during that time, I was coaching. I coached high school baseball, high school football, and then also college women's basketball.
Wow.
And that may have been some of the most wonderful time coaching, because I got to work with these wonderful, talented women. And the thing about basketball, the women's game, is that if you teach good technique and you see it right away, because the women's game is still under the rim, right?
A little
The
bit.
men's game is above the rim. They're slam dunking and all that. So women learn good technique and follow through, and they do it, right? So in other words, I'm getting to the long way to get to this, to telling folk or sharing with people that practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent.
Exactly.
And the more you do it, the better at it you
better
get.
you become.
Right.
Absolutely.
So whether it's making
Absolutely.
biscuits or gravy or roux or whatever it is, the more you do it, the better at it you become.
Excuse
so, you know, no, just go right ahead. It gives us a reason to drink champagne on television.
There you go.
Here's to your sister
Sandlin,
and her husband
Greg.
and this gorgeous home. Wow. They Greg took me on a little tour. Micanopy is.
It's 20 miles south of the University of Florida.
Can you hold that for me? I'm gonna do something while you're telling the story. So
Okay. 20 miles south of the University of Florida. It's a little town. The film Doc Hollywood was made there. For those of you old enough to remember seeing that.
I love that movie.
And it has about 830 people, counting us. And
830 counting you.
yeah, counting us. And it's very, 2 main streets, and that's about it.
And I heard there's a flashing light.
We do have a blinking caution light. That's the only light in town, and there are at least 4 stop signs.
It says, "Be careful." come on through, right?
Right.
Doc Hollywood was filmed there?
It was. Michael J. Fox was in the film, and they were there for about 9 weeks.
We're talking cooking healthy soul food. Yes, ma'am. On the internet.
How often do they change the recipe?
Let's defer to Amy. On the internet, how often do we change? What was that question again? How often do we update the recipes on the internet?
On the website.
On the website?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Is she lying? Yeah, okay, let's check it. I'm not that. I stopped using my computer, y'all. I take too much. I get on that thing and I get lost. So I said, well, let's somebody
See
listen.
recipes 7 days forward from the day you're watching and 7 days backwards. So every day it switches.
Your web address.
www.
foodtv.com.
Y'all use that web stuff? Excuse me. All right, other questions. Yes, ma'am.
Do you ever fry them when they get mushy like that? You can mix them up and fry them.
Ooh, you make like a fried pea patty? You hear that? You hear what she said? You know, if when they get mushy like that, take them and make it a little like a bean cake, little bean patty. Fry that. That's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna use that on TV. What's your name, baby? Miss Carmichael? Write down Miss Carmichael's name, because I'm gonna say I stole this at Mount Carmel Baptist Church from Miss Carmichael with the fly sunglasses on. Yes, ma'am.
Explain to me what cilantro is. I thought it was the leaves off of the celery stalk, but it's not.
This young lady had a question here. What is cilantro? I loved it. I'm having a good time, y'all. This could be a TV show. Curtis cooks in the hood, the real hood, right? Questions at Carmel Baptist Church. Food.
Yes.
I want to give you options if you want to make black-eyed peas without the pork fat. So I'm going to show you how to make black-eyed peas a healthier way. They're less expensive this way, and I think they taste great. Okay? I'm going to make these black-eyed peas, because this is real simple to do. It will not take that long, but I feel like the best thing I can do when I get a chance to come out in an audience like this is share myself with you. Because you can see me cook every day. You don't get a chance for us to be up close and personal like this. In the country, we have soul food. If you're from Italy, you know, the food that they're making up in Pisa is soul food. I was in Italy. This has been a great year for me, y'all. Last year was. I had a chance to go to Italy. I was in Australia and Hawaii twice, Mexico, and I mean, this was one of the best years. God is just making it so good for me, y'all, when you just turn it over and let that happen. If you want to travel, just say, Lord, I want to travel. And someday it just hit you in the head. You know what I'm saying? All right. Making the flame. No, you ain't kidding. All right, now, we're adding our onions here. And what we want to do, oh, here we go. What I want you guys to do at home is let your onions, your peppers cook for about 3 to 5 minutes, okay? 3 to 5 minutes. Now, let me show you a little trick here that you can do. This is going to that low-fat cooking again. I've got some salt. What I want to do is add a bit of salt at the early part of the cooking, right? This is not for flavor. What this salt is to bring the moisture out of your produce items. Now, I want you to place a lid on this pan and let this cook for 3 to 5 minutes. Your onions, your peppers, the flavors coming out. That's in the pan. That keeps it from sticking, okay? Now, we've got our black-eyed peas that we have soaked overnight. Y'all know you got to do that. You got to soak them, get them nice and soft. What we want to do, at home I'm doing this in a frying pan. This probably done in a frying pan, right? Then I add my black-eyed peas to my pot, okay? Then I pour the onions and the peppers over that, along with some garlic if you like. You can add some garlic to that, and also those shallots. Can you see that, my brother? Peace. Peace. I ought to be ashamed of myself. But I ain't. Okay, so now what I want you to do now, this is that flavor. We need that flavor. We got a little bit of fat in there because the beans is going to taste. If you don't add some fat to it, you've got no flavor, okay? Now you can use olive oil or canola oil, any type of vegetable oil. What I want you to do is mix those up really well, okay? Just go ahead and mix them up. Really, really mix it up. You may want to add a little more onion. You know I've been having a good time. But
if 5 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables a day is something I really would like for us to take to our communities, the National Cancer Institute, that's their big program, 5 a day. You see that in the grocery store. So talk about that with your kids, with your grandkids, you know. So let's talk about eating 5 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables a day. It helps to lower the cholesterol, the blood pressure, lose weight, makes you digestive. I can't talk.
Digestive.
Thank y'all so very much. But you know what I meant. Okay, it makes that work better. Yes, ma'am.
Talked about your grandma several times.
Yeah.
Share with us a moment of
With grandma?
with your grandma.
Woo, double yolk eggs. My grandma, I grew up in Georgia, right? And in North Georgia, I spent the summers in where? Conyers, about 20 miles east of Atlanta. Okay? My grandmother, Grandma Corrine, she died when I was about 11. Oh, I love her to death, boy. She just sweetly could cook. My mama now is the best cook I know. Grandma was good, but I was too young to really appreciate what she did, right? But my Granddaddy Curtis, who I'm named after both my granddaddies. Granddaddy Curtis is mama's last name. George, my middle name, is my dad's first name. So, you know, kind of hooked into both of them. But anyway, I would spend my summers with Grandma and Granddaddy up in North Georgia, and Granddaddy had the best farm, best garden right out front. And he grew cotton. He worked at the cotton gin up on the other, in Calhoun and all those places, right? But anyway, so Granddaddy would come home, and we'd pick the okra in the afternoon. Grandma would make stewed okra, fried okra. You know, oh, that stuff was good, right? But the mornings, I remember in the mornings, because we had chickens in the backyard, Granddaddy would go get the chickens, those big double yolk eggs. And she said, how you like your eggs, Poon? I said, you know, I want them fried. She'd make them fried double yolk eggs with that, not sunny side up, but she'd make them soft. And them homemade biscuits in the morning, oh, make you want to eat something. Anyway, so I think of grandmama and biscuits. My mama, I think of her as frying chicken, you know, in the kitchen, and she make biscuits. My grandma made them biscuits, those double yolk eggs in the morning, and grits. Yes, sir. Nice. Now, you had a question, pretty lady? What time my show? They keep changing my time slot, you know. So y'all got to write the Food Network says put Curtis on at 9 o'clock like Emerald is, right? Reverend Pastor, Reverend. I'm yours. I'm telling you, we're going to have a good, yes. My black-eyed peas always mush up. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with no mushy black-eyed peas. In fact, what I do is I cook mine, right? And then I take a cup of black-eyed peas out before serving them, and I mash them way up, mash them up big time, mix them back in, and make it nice and think give you good gravy. So ain't nothing wrong with your black-eyed peas mushing up, because if they're not mushy, if some of them break down, they're not cooked all the way. A lot of people serve. How do we do? Is demo okay with you? I mean, I told you the cooking part was the easy thing to do today, right? Now, Wade Cable, this is part of their community reach out, I think, outreach. Did I say that right? Outreach, reach out, and touch somebody. With the hug. That's it, 8 hugs a day, right. But when making your soups, and I talk about this in my last cookbook, if you're making beef and vegetable soup, or you're making chicken and noodle soup, or whatever soup you're making, I make the vegetable soup. I always use a vegetable broth, even with those beef soups, even with those chicken soups. Why? Because the vegetable broth, it doesn't overpower your ingredients. Sometimes you make a beef broth, it's so strong, you don't taste the things in there. Now, vegetable broth lets those other flavors come out and doesn't overpower the soup. So try it sometimes. Use a vegetable broth. How do you